Alright everyone, we're going to play some Across the Obelisk. This is a pretty fun game in the Spire-like genre, generally offshoot from all card battlers are called Spire-likes at this point, so it's probably not fair, but either way, it's an asynchronous card battler, you versus a computer opponent. In this case, we're going to have a band of heroes instead of just a single one. We're going to have multiple decks because each hero has his own deck, and so we'll be adding cards separately to those characters. And we'll be fighting multiple enemies at a time, which sometimes you do inspire, but a lot of it's focused kind of on, single bosses and whatnot. Now, on this game, there's a fairly major portion of the game that is progression oriented. It is not like Slay the Spire in that it is a roguelite, not a roguelike. Progression actually means something. Each run you're trying to make yourself a little stronger. You unlock perks for your characters. You start off with more gold and things so you can buy more things in the starting town. And along the way you unlock more cards that can then be used in later runs as you go. Now, some of that is elements that you would see, so shops and unlocking cards, are things that you would see in a roguelike, but the progression aspects of actually being able to make your character stronger each time is the light aspect. Roguelike and roguelite are very difficult to say in a way that makes sense to a user quickly, but either way, I think we get the point across there. This is a roguelite. It does have sort of ascension tiers as well that allow you to make the game harder. It does do one thing nicely, as far as I can tell so far. It does not have as its highest level something that says, okay, now all your progression doesn't matter. I'm not a big fan of that. I think that it's a lazy design aspect when a manufacturer of a game says, okay, our hardest difficulty makes your progression elements turn off. What that does is it basically disincentivizes players who want to play the full game, play the full package, from actually doing the element that's built in. It's grinding out levels and getting your +1s and +2s to all the things. Because if it's all going to get turned off in the hardest difficulty anyway, like, why bother? Now, all of that being said, this game is still early access. I've been enjoying the game a fair bit, so I figured I'd record a couple of videos. I restarted my progress so that you can kind of see what the early game looks like. We'll play a couple of runs over a couple of videos, and then I probably won't make another Across the Obelisk video for quite a while. It's still early enough in the early access that they haven't even completed the full story mode of the game yet. They have 3 acts out of a 4-act normal progression mode, if you will, and they have like 10 out of the 16 characters unlocked, and a few other elements that just haven't kind of finished yet. But what is there is incredibly stable. What is there is incredibly fun, and I think it's a little bit of a hidden gem. It popped up in a feed because I played other games like it, but I don't see a lot of content out there for it. Obviously, I'm not a big name anybody, so I'm not going to be really adding to the space that much, but hey, any little bit counts, so we'll get the name out there. I think these devs are doing a fantastic job, and they keep adding more fun stuff to the game. So without further ado, let's get into some Across the Obelisk play. We're going to start off in adventure mode. Notice that there are 3 save game slots. There isn't any data in any of these because I reset my progress. But even if I hadn't, there wouldn't be any data in these because each one of these is for one of your individual runs. Once you complete a run, it deletes that save off there. So it's not like this is a profile slot. Your profile is this whole game, and an individual slave slot is just a run. So you can actually have 3 runs running simultaneously. So you can have, one for you and one for your friend or whatever. Or you can just run 3 different runs simultaneously if you really like exiting the game and coming back and doing something different, which sounds like a lot of work to me. I'm going to be pretty linear and just always use the first one. So ready, set, go. We got text. So first things first, this text is not going to be something I'm going to read. I'll let you guys read it if you really want to. In fact, I'll even move myself out of the way for a minute. So pause the video if you really want to read the text prompts, but we're not going to worry about this. This game actually lasts for quite a while. If you don't pay too much attention, you will quickly get yourselves to a point in this game where many hours have passed, and you're still, I just want to finish the run. Even though it is a rogue-light game, an individual run can take you 3-4 hours if you're kind of in it. If you die early, then obviously it's shorter, but it can be a long game. What we are probably going to do for this first video is just take it through the first couple of fights. We'll cut the part there. We'll run another video with the rest of each act individually. In fact, we may just do a full act per video, but recognize that each act is going to be an hour or more. So I encourage you to strap yourselves in, grab a tasty drink of water, stay hydrated, and let's play some Across the Obelisk. So we're going to start off with 2 heroes here. There's no choice in the beginning. You don't have any control over your initial party makeup. We're going to go to this place and get a little tutorial battle, and it's going to tell us how to play the game. Now, I'm not going to do a whole lot to talk through how to play the game because the game does a pretty good job of it. What I will say is that they've done a fantastic job on their card design. It's very easy to read. How much energy does this cost? And what does it do in the middle? And then they have a little targeting thing that says, what can you do this on? Is it a global thing? Is it a hero effect? Is it a self effect? Is it a monster effect? And if it's a monster effect, is it only going to affect one particular type of monster, or do you get to choose? From there, the rest of the cards are pretty easy. Each card's set is color-coded as well, so you've got these reds for the fighters, and I think green for the rogue, and then the priests have a different color deck. Anyway, each deck is its own thing. You don't draw a mixed hand, so each character is going to go in essentially initiative order. If you've ever played D&D, that'll make sense to you. If not, there's basically a speed stat, and that determines who goes first. And there's a little initiative counter up here, so you can see who's going first and when. So it'll be me, and then one of the monsters in the back, and then my little priest guy, and then the other monster who's in the front. There's also a round counter over here that'll talk through, giving yourself bonuses over time. Okay, we already got there. There we go. Okay, so it says excellent here. I'll get better rewards if I kill everything on the first round. I'll get still pretty good rewards on the second round, and that continues to rotate through until eventually it just tells you that you're terrible and you should probably finish up quickly because you took too long. Now, before this tells me in the video that I've taken too long, let's go ahead and play our hand. We got 4 energy. You can see that down here. I'm actually covering up the energy counter, so I'll move myself one more time. Hey, there's an energy counter down to the bottom. You can also see the equipment that each hero has when it's their turn, but that's not going to matter because you can also see it right under their portrait. You get a little yellow bars that say what their energy is right now. You can see the little green bars to say what they're going to get next turn. And fun fact, any energy you don't use on a given turn stays for later. So you can use it on a later turn. You can bank some energy. So if you have really high cost cards, you can actually just spend some turns not doing as much and then cast them when they come up. All right. Other than that, let's go ahead and play through our battle. We got 4 energy and the ability to use it all. This intercept goes to a hero, so we can give him some block. Block is just basically temporary health that goes away at the start of a round. And now we will see, hey, monster cards also have a sight effect. So right now we can't see what the enemy intents are. That's different than something like Slay the Spire, because Slay the Spire just says, hey, this guy's going to attack you for 3, or he's going to block for 12. This says he's going to do something. He's going to do 1 somethings. So you do know how many things they're going to do because they have a number of cards. But unless you have sight rolling, you can't tell what they're going to do. And now it shows, hey, he's going to do a gunshot. And if you notice, he took 5 damage. Now, that doesn't make super sense because he shot for 16. But it does because, hey, I had 10 armor, and then my character, notice he has 10% resistance to piercing damage up in the upper left there. So that 6 got reduced to 5, rounded down, and now I still have 63 health instead of 62. Now, just so that we can see what it does, there is foresight, and now we can see that that guy is going to chop the front hero for 16. He's already blocking for 14, so that's pretty decent. Let's go ahead and hasten this guy's demise and heal ourselves. from here I still have 2 health left. I could heal either of my heroes, but I'm not missing any health, and again, you get to keep what you don't use, so we're going to let it go. Alright, took 1 damage, and now this guy is very nearly done, so we could use 6 damage and an 8 bleed. Bleed is an overtime effect that does damage at the beginning of your turn. That's a big waste, so let's just kill him softly that way. Let's get a rend in there. Now I no longer have any energy, so I can't defend myself, but this tie shot the guy in the back last time, so let's just guess that he's going to try to do the same thing. And turns out we were correct. Alright, order matters here. He's going to die on anything we do, so let's go ahead and heal ourselves before we get to the end of the battle. And now that we only have 1 target left, there's no need to target a specific enemy, and we are through the first battle. Alright, so this shows off events. Events will have different outcomes that you can choose, things that you want to try, and sometimes there will be rolls. But instead of dice, you roll cards. So if you notice it says 3 or lower here, it will give you a success probability, and it's 100%. Why is it 100%? Well, let's look at our deck. Our deck contains cards that cost 2, 0, 1, and then more of the same, which means that none of our cards cost more than 3, so we will just convince. And look at that. With just that, we got 2 in it. We had 2 more party members, and now we have a warrior in the front. We have a scout, or rogue, or ranger, whatever you want to call it. We got a mage, and we got a priest, or healer. Alright, we're now to our first town. Now, we have a last game rewards from the last game we played, and we'll go ahead and take it here just so that we can show the general flow of the game. When you start off a game, you'll get some rewards from the previous game. I ended that run kind of early and then reset the progress on the game so that we have a nice clean slate to work with. So, normally speaking, if you make it through a full run, you'll actually have more than this to work with. But for now, we've got this deck here. And what can we do with it? Well, we can upgrade our town at some point once we get these supplies, but we don't have any. But this is going to just basically give us more options in the town to buy better equipment, buy better cards, do it for cheaper. But for now, at the very least, we can build cards, we can upgrade cards, we can remove cards, and then we can do what's called divination. We can also buy equipment for our heroes, so each hero starts off with 1 piece of equipment that does some things. But you can buy other things, so for instance, I could buy this slingshot for Andrin, and every turn he will cast Pebble Throw, which is a card that does 4 range damage. That doesn't sound like a lot, but hey, if it's always active for free, that is 1 energy that we don't have to cast that just always plinks away at people's health. It adds up, and it's a pretty decent kind of first thing to have. Now we still have some money left, so if there's anything else that looks interesting here, we can go ahead and take it. I'm not seeing a whole lot, except for the fact that I think some of his damage is slashing, so this would actually be okay. Now, we don't actually have to make everybody have the same amount of equipment, so the fact that he's got 3 and these other guys have just 1, their starting piece, isn't a bad thing, because we're going to find plenty more equipment as we go along. Now, we still have some money here, so let's go ahead and do this Zingara. I don't know if that's a title or a name. To the beautiful Zingara. Probably a person, but if so, she moves to the next place too. So let's get a divination round. What that's going to do is it's going to give us basically card rewards, so we're going to pay money. And now it says we're going to unlock some cards, and you can choose between them. Now this Shield Bash is corrupted. That is a little difficult to know what that means, but we'll get there. So our normal cards are white text or paint, right? Now if I right-click this for more info, it upgrades to 2 different styles. So you can choose to take this card and upgrade it to the blue or the yellow path. And each way you'll get something different. This says, hey, it's going to come up on the first turn. This says, hey, it's going to go away, so it doesn't stay in your deck. It vanishes the first time you use it, so it's got kind of like the exhaust mechanic on it. But also gains this draw 1, so now it costs 0, you draw past it, and it essentially is kind of like a free action when you use it, and then gives you some power, which is what this bonus token looks like. This is a corrupted version, and if we right-click on this, it says, hey, there's a source card here that does 10 and 10. The corrupted version is a huge upgrade. It's literally double as good, but it's always going to have that vanish on it. So generally speaking, what a corrupted version of a card does is it vanishes. They all vanish as far as I've seen, but they combine effects from the upgrade paths on the source card. So they become very, very powerful one-use cards. So we're going to actually pick up the Shield Bash and the Fireball here. And then for these other guys, we can look and say, is this something that we want them to do? Now, we already talked about doing slashing damage, and none of these do slashing damage. So we're actually going to just skip and get shards. Shards are useful for an entirely different purpose, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But also, I don't think we're real excited about these, so let's go ahead and do that. And now all of a sudden you can see, hey, I've got 16 cards for Magnus, because Magnus now has Shield Bash. Well, we can go over to the church here, and Magnus can say, hey, you know what? Now that I have Shield Bash, maybe I don't need both of these reds. So I'm going to remove that. It'll cost me 30 gold, so it does cost gold right now. You can upgrade it to where it's free. Now he's back down to 15 cards. Why would we ever want less cards, though, Mort? Well, here's the deal. If you have 15 cards in your deck, you draw 5 a turn. It takes you 3 turns, basically, under normal circumstances, to get through your deck. If you have 30 cards, it's going to take you 6 turns to get through your deck. If there's only 2 cards in that whole deck that you really, really want to get to and play, you're going to get to them on average a lot faster in a small deck than you will in a larger deck. You don't always want a smaller deck, though, because when enemies put cards in your deck, those will also come up faster. And if you want to avoid them junking up your deck too much, maybe you do bloat your deck. So there are choices to make. It's not always necessarily the best thing ever to have a 15 card. Notice there is a minimum deck size right there on the bottom. So you can't have below 15 anyway, but it's not always necessary to have 15 cards, but at least most of the time, it's pretty helpful. So we also got a big Fireball. That's a lot of damage here, so we're going to remove one of our expensive Frostbolt cards to just kind of keep up with that. Now, we don't have a ton of money, but the only things that are costing gold here are the Armory and the Divination, and right now our removal. As long as we maintain enough to remove other cards that we don't want, which was like 30-ish per card, let's say we want to get rid of 10 cards per guy. Well, that's 300 each. So we can't really afford to do another divination round at 400. If we had 6,000 gold, maybe we run 2 or 3 more divinations. Or if churching was free, maybe we run all the divinations we want. But it's a balance. For now, let's do one more divination run just to kind of see what some of the things are. Notice that some of these things are upgraded, some of them are removed. Got this big upgrade on Ice Shot, deals a ton of damage and costs 3. You know what? Let's just do it because it's interesting. I don't really want any of these. None of these are upgraded, and I don't really care about them. And this Holy Smite is already upgraded, but I've got plenty of shards to do that with, so I'm actually going to just take Sacred Bolt, which is a new type of spell. Now, let's go over to this Magic Altar. I just got a spell that I didn't already have, and it's pretty cheap to upgrade. So let's go ahead and make it do more things. Well, hey, Burn is pretty cool, but Sacred Bolt getting 3 Sanctify seems like that's probably a pretty good trade. So neither one of these is better in and of themselves, but they do different things. I don't really care right now because my characters are all level 0. I have no perks, so we're just going to pick one and go with it, but that's not exactly a stunning recommendation for always do that one. That just happens to be what kind of works here. Let's show off 1 or 2 more little things. In the Magic Forge, you can actually build cards. Anything that you've seen or already have, you can build. Now, until you do divination rounds, the only thing that you can build are the starting cards. So unless you really like them, like Deflect, because that's just a busted card, you're probably not going to do a whole lot of building on your first 2 runs. Over here, if we wanted a War Paint, which we probably do, we can go ahead and build one. It was better for us to take the shield bash when we got it, but now we still get a war paint to mess with. So that's pretty good also. And over here, we haven't really seen anything that we're super excited about except for that fireball. So for now, we're going to do very little to change our deck. Reginald, on the other hand, has this card called Healing Rain. Now, this is a card that I really like in early game, and then usually I get rid of it later on in a run. It grants 2 regeneration to everybody and applies 1 wet, which removes burns. Now, it's global, which means it also affects your enemies. But here's the thing. We can go over here, and we can make that only affect our heroes. And that is pretty cool. Now also note that it goes from being wet to just dispelling fire. And the reason for that, it being an upgrade, is that wet also increases the static damage you take. So it's a little bit of a debuff even though it cancels your on fire. So if we do 2 of these, now all of a sudden our healing rains only make ourselves better and don't make our enemies heal anything. So that seems pretty good. We've also got 17 cards on him and 17 cards on Andrin, so let's go back and make our decks just a little cheaper. We like slash damage and we like low cost, so we're going to keep the slices as is. So for now, let's just remove 2 of the aimed shots, and that gets us to 15 cards. Magnus has got this Captain's Howl, which we don't care too much about, and the War Paint, which we think is pretty cool. So we've already got some of the cheap options taken care of, so we're not super excited about getting rid of a rend right now, because sometimes you'd want to use energy to have a big effect. So instead, because we got that shield bash that gives us some self-defense, we'll just take out 1 of our regular defense. Reginald just got Sacred Bolt. Well, that's a big damage thing, so let's remove 1 of the Holy Smites. And then we got a Healing Rain, so let's remove a barrier. Alright, with that we've got some fairly basic decks to work with. Let's do some upgrades and then get into the game proper. For now we're going to do a couple of things that I happen to know are good. Hey, we're going to make these cheaper because cheaper is great. Notice that just like that we use 240, so if you're wanting to upgrade an entire deck, pay attention to how much you're using because these can get pretty expensive and then you're not going to have enough to do stuff for your other guys. So spread the love, or understand that some of your characters are just going to be harder to play. And that's okay, but it's a choice. So this one, hey, let's make it do some burns. Now we can apply status effects with our basic spells there. And these slices, having them apply mark, means that all of our damage is going to do more. Whoops. So mark says +1 damage per charge. That works for every damage type, so mark is just pretty powerful. So now we've got at least a couple of upgraded things on each person. He's got Fire Blast, he's got Slice, he's got Fast Strike, and we've got those Healing Rains. So now we still have some more stuff to work with, so let's continue to make things work for us. We'll make that a little cheaper, we'll make that a little cheaper, and we'll make that a little cheaper. We can also make this go away. That seems nice. We'll tighten up our loop of what it does, and we'll make that go away. So as we remove cards from the deck, we'll draw the things that we care about more and more often. And do we want to do anything here? Sure, let's make those things go away. And we'll make that charge battery go away. He's already got some pretty good stuff. And we can make this one, on our last sort of big thing, just give all of our heroes a little bit more armor. Okay, we're pretty much out of money, so let's go play the game proper. Now we get our map. Okay, so for those of you who have watched other games that have something like Slay the Spire or other things, your map having a splitting path is no news at all. But for those of you who haven't, this is more of a choice than it looks like, because you might think, well, I'll go here and then I'll come back. This is linear progression only, so once you choose this path, you can never go to these 2 nodes or that node. However, some of these paths reconnect down later, so you could go to the crossroad even if you go to the Western Farmland just by picking this lower path. But if you pick that lower path, then you're never going to the Scorched Field and so forth. There's also quests that pop up, so we're going to probably want to go to at least one of those places just to get something going here. And some interesting locations. So the suspicious hatch, notice that it has a little map on it. That means it's going to go to another map inside. So we'd actually have more nodes to go if we go inside there besides just the one. So for our first run, let's look up here and see if we're going to go to the suspicious hatch, we basically have to go to the western farmland. So off we go. Alright, we are fighting some corn cuties. Cornies. For those of you who watch Dimension 20. Alright, so this is going to make us get one less next turn. So now we got 2 green bars instead of 3, but now we got 6, so it's still a net positive. We can also make our ice shot do a lot of damage, so 19 and 13. They've got some resistance to piercing, but they've got negative resistance to cold is what it looks like. You can actually go to their character sheet and, hey, look at that, negative 10% resistance to cold, positive 10% resistance to piercing, so the math bears out. If we do 9 damage to this guy, he'll have 31 health. But by adding a mark, that will increase the damage that this does. So if we go 9 here, now this actually kills that guy outright, which seems pretty good. This also is going to let our next hero who's going, Magnus, or any other character, but since Magnus is going next, we'll do it on him. We can look through his hand and say, is this what we want to draw? And you know, maybe let's just try to go for pure offense. And now he's going to draw 6 cards instead of 5, and at least 3 of them will be the ones that we saw and didn't choose to discard. So, hooray for us. Let's already get this guy bleeding, and we'll move on to Magnus. Alright, well we drew all of our self-help options anyway, so let's get some power and move on with life. Now unfortunately this guy in the back is going to get a chance to go before we get to do anything else. I was really hoping to kill some people, but I guess we'll just go ahead and put some intercepts on the guys that are going to take the most damage, and we'll cover up ourselves. Alright, well that was not as random as I would hope, and all 3 of those hit our person here. That's okay. We can do some damage, we can do some additional damage, and then we can do some more damage. And that's pretty much all the choices you get with this character, so off we go. Hey, we did get a heal, so let's go ahead and knock that out. This person is going to kill themselves with the 2 bleeds, so we can actually just fully ignore them. And go ahead and get the heal in there. Alright, we are into round 2. We're still on a great performance boost. Couple of slices and we are done. Okay, and you can see all these green things. We're pumping up lots of lots of unlocked items because, hey, we just started the game. So unlocking cards is pretty much what's going to happen for the first couple of runs. After that, you'll still unlock cards, but it won't be on every single fight. Precise Strike is interesting. It does slashing damage, which is one of the things that we want. It can hit any monster, which is one of the things that is kind of lacking from his deck otherwise. That's all front monster, and that's all front monster, and hey, even our shield bash is the front monster. But we might not mind. Maybe Magnus is more there just to give us some shields. So, you know, that's an option, or we can just take some shards and upgrade a card later. Either way, this is a lot of damage, so we're just going to go ahead and take the card for now. We've already got 4 slices, they're already upgraded. This Shiv is interesting. It's a 0-cost card for 6 damage and 1 poison. We don't really do any other poison damage, so not as excited to pick that one up. We got a lot of... We already have a fireball, and, you know, this flare here is pretty much the exact same as this frostbolt, but, you know, I'm not excited. Similarly, we've already got 2 foresights. This clarity purges some effects that we haven't even seen yet, and this fade is good, but not really necessary. So let's just get these things and understand that the cards that we pick up need to be something that actually make our deck do something that we want it to do. Things that we're seeing, not so much. Alright, Scorched Fields. Now, here's a thing that actually has options. This is going to be 73% chance, 20%, or an 86%. Now, you also kind of have to read, because if you don't, you might end up picking an option that makes it harder to do what you want to do. So, for instance, this would avoid the fight entirely if we succeeded, and maybe we want fights, because fights give us gold and experience and also card rewards. So, let's not do that. This one, on the other hand, could give you an advantage on the fight, so instead of just heading right on, we've got a pretty good success probability. Let's try it. So as a group, we need 5 or lower, and oh, baby, we got it. Only 4 costs total, so we are in the fight with an advantage. They got some burning effects there, we got some bleeding effects on that guy, and that's going to be extra damage that we don't have to deal to them. Alright, we got a Hunter's Mark, we got a Deflect. This is one of the most powerful cards in the game. Look at it and weaken everyone. Why? Well, it's a 0 cost that gives us block and draws 1, which means that it's totally free to draw and gives us an effect that we like to boot. So, look at that. Alright, so we have 4. We didn't draw our Adrenaline, so we can choose to do 2 cards or 3, depending on how we do it. We can Slice an Ice Shot, or we can Hunter's Mark. I think these guys are low enough health that we probably just Slice an Ice Shot the front guy, and then that's pretty much it for him. Let's get that War Paint in. Now we've got 2 power. That means we do 10% more damage. So instead of 20, that's 22. And hey, that guy has negative bludgeon resistance. So let's just turn him into popcorn. Alright. And from here, we can kind of choose how we do things. But how we do things is pretty much just cast all the spells you got. Alright, from here, let's protect our weakest member. And when he goes, he just burns himself to death. So no problems there. Alright, Fireball here is going to do a whopping 10 damage because he's got all the fire resist because he's an imp, so let's just not. Cold Spark in. Fire Blast is free, so hey, we'll just get that 1 damage for no problems. Frostbolt, though, on the other hand, instead of doing 14 is 18, and that is fantastic. So let's also shield ourselves. Hey, we get a chance to go before the end of the first round, and I think that actually means we get our excellent bonus for the first time. Now what this does is it just gives you more gold, more experience, and plus 3 card tiers just basically means that you're going to get better cards, more rare. These little wood borders are the basic cards, these bronze borders are the next tier up, they were the uncommons, and there's silver for rare and so forth that goes up from there. So you'll get more rare cards, you'll get more upgraded cards. The cards tier higher you are. We're still on the first map, we're still on the first couple of fights of the first map, which means our base card tier is like 1. So even adding 3 card tiers basically just gives you an opportunity to maybe see an uncommon card and maybe see one of those upgraded. Alright. No. Poison Dart's a little better because it's got a lot of poison on it, but again, we're not really doing poison here, so we're just going to skip kind of down the line. Except this. That's all heroes. That seems great. So let's go. Oh, 4 or higher, 54%. Let's try to get a chest. Sure. Oh no! We failed, but we didn't fail by much. So it didn't give us any injury cards. That is something that you can have happen. So unfortunately, we got the fire, but we got the experience for the fight, but we didn't get any additional bonuses from it. So if we're still heading down here to this suspicious hatch, we got to go south. We're just going to play through these fights relatively quickly, just because I know that there's a time aspect, and I want to be at least a little bit conscious of how much time I'm wasting. Alright, One down. We got all the things here, so let's do Captain's Howl. That's going to make everybody slow and vulnerable, which means my characters will get to go before them. To do Enrage, which gives me an extra card and some more energy to play with. And now we just get to go down the line. So Shield Bash, Strike, 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 Bleed. Moving right along. What do we got? We got a Frostbolt, we got a Charge Battery, we got some things that are free, and we got Transmission. Well, we can't cast all of it because that's 5, so let's just skip the Transmission for now and go straight in on damage. Let's also give some wards to people just to reduce the damage they take. Notice that this shield here isn't actually blue health. That's because they don't get it until the next round. So shield actually gives you block next round. Block gives you shields this round. Alright, Healing Rain is great. Doesn't do anything right now, but hey, we're going to do it anyway. Let's see what these guys are about to do. This guy's going to do Watering. He's going to heal some people. Oh no. And this guy is also going to heal some people. And by that, oh no, I mean, I don't care because they're mostly going to be dead. But we got lots of effects going on. He is going to heal. So we do have to do 16 more damage. All of our damage was focused on this guy because since they would both get healed, there's no real reason to spread out your damage and then have to do it all over again. Alright, in we go. Let's get our Hunter's Mark and a Rupture going. We've only got 3, so we also could just do... Oh, you know what? He's got low health. We could probably just slice into Rupture and that would do the trick, huh? Yep, so he's going to bleed to death now. And now we probably just want to make sure that she's got good stuff coming up. We don't need Transmission, and the rest is fine. Alright, Warpaint, Barricade. Nobody's going to take damage. That seems great. Let's give himself some more healing, or armor. And we'll just end that guy's misery. Alright. We now have some bleed stacks on us, but I don't think it's going to matter too much. This guy is not one for this world. 1, 2, 3 bleeds on him, and we can actually just do literally everything we've got. So off we go. Doesn't seem like that much damage, but you know, it adds up. Alright, what do we got? We got a Holy Smite that gives us a Bless. Bless means that we do more damage, so we got to do this first and then Flash, because now we do 1 more damage. Look at that. And then beyond all that, it's kind of a wash, but we can remove that bleed at least. That seems nice. Unfortunately, we let it get to the 3rd round, so now we're just doing great. That's okay. Off we go. Easy peasy. Unlocking more cards. Well, we got Guard. That's going to give us the first time we ever see Fortify. That's the ability to not lose your block at the beginning of the round, but otherwise I don't think we're real excited about that. This does bludgeoning damage, which we're not as excited about. Notice we did pick up Shield Bash, but that's because it's 2 for 20 and also gives us 20 shields, so that's a ridiculous number advantage. This is not that. 40 shards, please. All the way down. Now we do have a really nice looking elemental ward here that is 15 shields and 6, as opposed to the 7 and 3, or even the upgraded versions that we've got here that is 11 and 5. This is 15 and 6. That's crazy, right? But I don't really need that. But Ember Storm, on the other hand, that's an AoE, so let's hit all the monsters while we can. Already got 2 Healing Rains, so I'm not excited about getting a 3rd. And off we go. Alright, let's get in this hatch here so we can leave. Seems like exactly the opposite reason to why we came here in the first place, or we can enter. Well, she failed, so unfortunately she's now got an injury, which means part of her deck is that she's got an injury right there. So if she draws that, she takes 2 vulnerable damage and it eats one of her card draws. So I'm going to get rid of that later. Notice that it's also got that little symbol right there. Do we want to try to intimidate them? Pretend? Let's try to intimidate. Hey, we did it. Okay, cool. So we get some money, we get some experience, and we didn't have to fight. Could be good, could be bad. Gotta pick a direction here. Let's go towards that statue. It looks pretty interesting. Alright, so we got some various pieces here, but pretty much I guess this guy is just only going to do damage to the front monster, so we might as well just do damage to the front monster, huh? Off we go. Slice, dice, and peel. Let's get Captain's Howl. Hey, that shifts at least one person in there. Get Enrage. Get all that stuff self-buffing out of the way before we actually hit a fast strike, because hey, that gave us an extra damage on the attack. This is only for ourselves, and let's make sure that she doesn't die. Alright, Pigman says slap. Cold Spark's an interesting one, by the way. We always have to cast this first because it equals your hand cost. So it's going to do more the earlier we cast it in turns. Let's get that rolling. Let's get ourselves a fireball. I think that's basically all we'll have time to do this round. Oh, I do get to go first. Nice. Can I actually kill her? She's got 24. I'll do 16. It's going to be real close, but I think she will burn to death, so that's pretty great. Yeah, 2 burn. 2 burn does it, I think. I think we are good. So let's go ahead and apply our foresight there. Let's go ahead and dispel the burning that's going on there. I think we're good. We'll save the energy. Oh no! She survived. Well, that's fine. Wasn't really anything we could have done to avoid that, so. Yeah, we get our deflects rolling. Here we got our ice shot that we can't use. Not sure why. Oh, because we used our adrenaline last turn and have only 2 energy for this turn. That's right. It's almost like this game knows what it's about. So this is going to apply slow, which just shifts him back 1, but Magnus is going to have a chance to do damage here, so I think our best bet is probably just to do 1 damage, apply the 1 mark, and hit end turn. This is a very similar amount of damage, and anything he does is now going to be increased. Wow. Okay. Options. I have them. Alright, so that's... Let's look at his bludgeoning resist. What's his bludgeoning resist? 0? Okay. So yeah, let's use the 17 there because he's got slashing resist. And then we can slap him with bludgeoning. Great. I guess we might as well just stack on, huh? Okay, bleeds to death. This person burns to death. Oh, wait, out of there. That seems pretty nice. Sharpen. Gaining 3 sharp makes our slashing and piercing damage. Most of what we do is slashing, so it's pretty nice. This is also an AoE. You target the middle and the sides take extra damage. But it's also super expensive, and I'm not really... I don't have enough energy to really do that on most turns. I guess I do if Fast Strike comes up, and if I can make these defends go away or get cheaper. So that one's pretty decent. Also don't mind. Well, let's go with that. This does a whole bunch of mind damage and sanity damage, but only targets a random monster. You don't get to pick who that attacks. So I'm not excited about that. Once again, we already have 2 elemental wards, so there's no real reason for a 3rd one, and I kind of have all of this stuff, so let's just... leaving sounds like no fun. 64% versus 36. I guess let's do what we can. Oh, goodness. Alright, well, we failed, and therefore are in for a fight. So let's look at this thing real quick. It takes a lot of bludgeoning damage, but it is resistant to just about everything else. Okay. Adrenaline, deflect, expert tracker. That seems like a pretty great first turn, except I don't want that or that. And now we just start working on these guys. So that's only going to do 9 damage there, so that doesn't seem good. Off we go. Alright, Magnus. What you got for me? We got a sweeping strike that we can do on the middle that goes... Good sound there. Let's get a couple of fast strikes in, and now we can rend. This thing is immune to bleed, by the way, so... Probably should have skipped the rend if I was thinking clearly, but here we are. It is immune to burning because it's a statue. Who would have thought? We got healing rain. We can actually heal this guy for a little bit. You know, we can see what he's doing. He's going to summon something, and he's going to make everything more powerful. Okay, so he's not going to do any damage this round, so might as well just use both of our healing rains. We'll get that regen stacking up. And honestly, we'll just save the energy because he's going to heal himself with the regen. Alright, he's going to summon again. He's going to make things powerful again. So really, as long as we're killing all these imps before they have a chance to go and damaging this thing, so far so good, right? Slice. Slice. Let's go ahead and get a hunter's mark on that guy. Captain's Howl pushes things into the slow path. Oh, okay, well, let's give everybody some blocks so that he doesn't actually get to do anything. Alright, what do we got? We got our Cold Spark, so that's going to do a little bit of damage there. We got a Fire Blast, which isn't going to do much, but we can do that there. We can manage him just to use it later. And I guess we might as well just keep pumping damage into these guys. That guy's going to burn to death, so we're kind of fine there. We'll just give ourselves the shield. Alright. Just keep rolling, I guess. Nothing much to do with any of these, so we'll skip. Off it goes. And we got a new imp. And now they're all fast. Not great. Alright. So we've got 3 to work with, so if we want an ice shot, that's pretty much all we get to do. I think that's probably worth it, because we can pretty much get rid of this guy, or at least close to it. And by giving him 8 stacks of chill, it pushed him past Magnus. So, fast striking here means we now have access to Shield Bash, which does extra damage against this guy. We like extra damage. Now, he is just granting health, so we don't have to worry about protection here. Alright, this is pretty great. So transmission actually works out in our favor this time because the guys that are doing all the damage are those 2 guys. Whoops, meant to click one of each, but that's okay. Andrew will just get tons of energy. Alright, it's all on you. Can you do both? You can. Look at you. And we still have to use our turns doing things, but at the very least, no more summoning is going to happen. So, unfortunately, we did it in round 4 instead of round 3, so it's just great instead of excellent. That's okay. We will survive the indignity. Pay no attention to the order here, we're just clicking on cards. We'd already won. It was just a matter of doing it. Okay. So we already have a Precise Strike, we already have a Shield Bash, and Steel Skin is a lot for just some defense, which we already have. Hit and run's great, because it makes you go fast, except I'm already the fastest person, so I don't think we need it. Off we go. We don't want any of these for the same reasons. This one's okay. Gets itself out of the way, removes bleed and toxin, and gives a barrier. This one's alright. take a secret room. Ephemeral potion with a large chest and some heating stuff is going on, so let's give it to her. And hey, cool. It's also a chest. Hey, we got some stuff. So who is doing AoE things? She is. So we could give her the crystal ball. Giving a little bit extra speed would be pretty cool. Don't think we need the bandages. So what if we gave him speed? What if we gave him the ability to get some power? It'd also take gold, by the way. But I like the idea of actually getting things that make us better at the game. Get a little bit of max HP, a little bit of something else. Maybe he gets gold and she gets crystal ball. Okay, cool. And let's just fight. Alright, so we have speedy speed, which means we move in about the same order that we would otherwise. Let's make sure his first turn isn't super terrible. Oh, that's actually a very nice thing with that, so let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of Rend. Let's see what else we can pull up. We got 4 to work with, so we probably want to kill... I feel like we should kill these backwards, so let's do that. I probably should have done this one first, but that's okay, because if she shocks, the shock does damage to the sides. Micro optimization, not going to matter too much. Okay, let's get some bonuses rolling. Alright, we got a cold spark, we got a charged battery. Let's spread this out a little bit. These guys summoned last time, so we just won't kill it immediately. We'll get them close. And let's make sure Andrin has enough energy to do interesting things next turn. Okay, let's get Healing Ray rolling. Let's get a Divine Smite. Oh, hey, we can actually see what this is. So it is trying to summon, and this one is trying to summon, so we don't want to kill anybody actually this turn. So let's get this one closer. And I'll call it good. And unfortunately, I think we're just going to get our heroes beat up here. Maybe they'll all attack my front guy. That'd be great. Okay, so they were not able to summon. That's excellent. Since there's only 4 slots available, they couldn't do what they wanted to. I am all for not letting them do what they want to do. That one's already got one burn, so let's go ahead and get the aim shot in there. And from there, we'll just start working on the front guys. Ouch! Boy, howdy, that hurts. Okay. Okay. Thank you for that, good sir. That hurt a lot. We got 4 energy, so let's just do this. That cleans up the back row. No more summoning. I'm going to take my own intercept, though. That was not as helpful as it could have been. Alright, Reginald, I need you to draw that AoE heal. That one. That one. Alright, well that didn't happen, so let's go ahead and heal people as best we can. So I think that gets the 2 most damaged things. Except for myself, but later get some foresight. Alright. Speeding along here. Got 3, so we'll just do 1, 2, and good to go. Not bad. Oh, yes. Shield Bash Corrupted is so good. It's just so much damage and so much health. I love it. Burning Shot's nice, but I just don't have the energy for it. 3 energy is a lot to ask right now. I like the fire aspect, so I'm going to step away from the cold, otherwise Icicle would be fine. It's also a random monster, so I'm gonna, and I've already got Detoxify, I've already got 2 barriers. Not super excited about Mind Blast. Hey, Bellafor. Let's kill him. Oh, look at this guy. Look at that tummy. Just look at him. We're gonna mark the crowd out of him. You need all the marks, sir. Now you take 5 more damage to everything. Skip, skip. Again. Let's get a Whooping. Let's get a... I don't think that order matters now. So just click on cards at this point. Do a bunch of damage. Alright, so now he's going to lose 40 and get weak. But he summoned 2 things. Okay. Yeah, we could worse. Just going to keep pumping all of our damage into that guy, which also probably means inspiring him, because Magnus can only hit the front hero. Or front enemy. I say that, but he does have the Sweeping Strike, which could hit the middle one and scatter out to the sides, but... you know... Let's get Healing Rain rolling, and let's get a Flash damage in, just because it does good damage, but otherwise I don't think we waste our energy. Okay, Adrenaline is here. Got an aim shot for the back. Alright, fine. Oh. Speaking of Sweeping Strike, oh, look at that. It's a Sweeping Strike. Who would have thought? It's almost like it's scripted. But it's not. It's not scripted. I promise. Just a very small deck and like 50% chance that we would have gotten that. Okay, Fireball. Frostbolt. Alright, he's gonna attack a random hero, all heroes, and all heroes. Ooh. Keep Foresight rolling because it's free. Let's get a barrier going here. Flash is free. Nobody needs anything dispelled. Oh, she does. Cool. Thank you. Now I'm going to draw that, and I don't want to. Thanks, I hate it. Ooh. Oh, wait, I can't guess. I will continue those marks stacking, because +5 to all damage seems good. Yes, I understand that hurts. Alright, Shield Bash. Boom. Let's go shot on him. Ow. That hurts a lot. I'm heavily considering not killing him until next turn. Let's let him do it, because then maybe I can get a heal off. I promise it's not scripted. It really is just what this deck does. Okay. We got the heal off. Ooh! That is a very early gold card. Is it good? Purge 3 is really good. Purge 3 knocks off 3 beneficial effects, so yeah. We will be taking that. I don't think those are good. Another deflect sounds hilarious. So we will be taking that. I think we're good. Shock Nova is expensive. And we leveled. Look at that. Alright. So what do we got? We got a Scholar's Robe, we got Cloak of Evasion, we got Bellaforce Pipe. Searing Nova. What's that? 5 damage, and then apply some burn if you've got burn. Searing Dagger. Ooh. Hey, that does more damage than I would otherwise because it has a piercing damage +1. So, and we go for that. That seems great. I currently don't have anything in this slot, so both of those would be fine. Piggy bank also seems funny. Let's just do piggy bank because it seems funny, right? Funny seems good. That actually seems useful. So does Scholar Robe. So we'll do that. And then Ring, because he's got low max HP. So decent. Alright, so now we get to choose either Follow-Up, which makes our attacks cheaper, or Wolf Guard, which gives some extra defense out to people. Let's go with Follow-Up, because we've got some expensive attacks. Maneuver can draw some cards, or Wild Hunt adds more marks. You know, I love Mark. We're going to do that. Mark is more damage. We can provide more statuses, or enchant our weapons. Well, looking towards this, Burn +2, Chills +2, Spark +2, we could kind of get that from this and then get this other thing. So let's do this. And then we can either attack or heal. Let's go with attack. So already got some heal. Okay, and we're out of the basement. Look at that. So we now have this Bellaforce Horn thing, which means we need to go through the center if we want to use it on an event, because I don't think that goes... Yeah, you can only get to this from these two places, and we can't get down here, so I guess we'll go down. If you stayed this long so far, I do appreciate it. We are at the 1 hour mark. Take a drink of some water. Make sure to stay hydrated, and we will finish out this Act 1. We can use it in our current state. We have 1500, or we can try to fix it. That seems pretty cool. We're not going to rebuild it, so that's not a thing, but we can fix it. Maybe. 4 or higher. Oh, we just got it. Okay, great. So now we can upgrade some of the cards that we got. Seems good. So notice you can't upgrade, it's got a little lock symbol there, you can't upgrade corrupted cards because they have exactly one upgrade path and they've already taken it. We could, however, make our defense cheaper. I think just removing them is the better option there. Ember Storm, make it go away, but I think I actually like the option of just making it apply more. Actually, maybe having it go away would be a good thing. Making that cheaper sounds like a great plan. What else we got? Make Holy Smite better. Make Holy Smite cost a lot. Sure. Seem to always have extra energy on this guy for some reason. Make all our heals cheaper, like that. Make our flash cheaper. That's probably why we have all the extra energy, huh? Didn't really think about that one through. Alright, Magnus, anything that you want to do? Maybe do this first turn? So you always get War Paint? That seems good. Anything else? Rend? could go to any monster at that point, but I think we're getting rid of Rend as soon as we can. Same thing with these defense. I'm not real excited about upgrading them, other than maybe making one of them cheaper. Andrin seems to be in pretty decent shape. He's doing a lot for us. Can make one of our ruptures do more damage. That seems like a good enough thing. And then maybe we just discharge battery, do a little more. We'll have this one come back to us, and we're done. Oh, that was an expensive upgrade. Just kidding, guys. We're done. All right, moving on. This is a quest, and we will take it. Sure. All right. So now you notice that there is a path that says no rolling required. We have a demon horn that says we did a thing. And they tell us that we go to the Four Steeps. Okay, so now we need to look for where are the Four Steeps. That is a South Fang Gate. That is Bandit Camp. Obelisk. Forest Arch. Four Steeps. Okay, so if we want to go there, we have to go here. We can look at his wares. We can try to get a discount by pointing out the dead boy. 85% probability. That sounds fantastic. And we got it. Alright. That sounds pretty good for him, actually. Apply one to all enemies. Oh, you know what? It doesn't matter. I don't think it matters because I'm only ever doing that on like one card. So maybe I don't care. Oh, that's too bad. Because that certainly sounded pretty cool. Max HP on her seems like a great plan. He does need a weapon, so we might as well give him Sacred Tablet. Well, Sacred Tablet doesn't really do anything we care about. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything I really care about here. You're not selling it, guys. Alright, off we go. Forest Derps. Okay, we have a Searing Nova, so that thing was that Searing Dagger just went off. Alright, we can do Adrenaline, we can do Expert Tracker, we can do... that's a pretty great first hand, actually. I might even keep that. That's a pretty great first hand. I think we just keep that exactly as is. Then we just do stuff. $21. And 9 is 30. Okay, so we're gonna have to do 2 shots anyway. So we'll go ahead and do this, and then we can start the fast track on the next guy. I disapprove. I disapprove. Please stop. Please stop. Okay, that's allowed. The one guy with block doesn't get hit until the last one. Thank you. Please drive through. Fireball does extra damage to people because they're made of wood. Ooh. Let's make sure he has the capacity to do what he needs to do, and let's make sure he doesn't die. Reginald! Heal all heroes. Ooh, that's nice. Yes, please. We'll do that healing, and then we'll do some fresh. Okay. They all have one. Where'd that happen? Tell me that. I didn't even buy that card. Oh. That. She hit everybody with the fireball, and it applied one of those. Remember that part where we didn't even remember Borrowed abilities. Because I remember that part. Searing Knife, good. Rupture, very good. I think it's going to take a lot of damage as soon as it gets hit. Okay. Well, follow-up would be useful if I had any attacks that cost more than 0, which I don't. So what I can do is I can get it set up for next round after casting all my stuff. Dread! No! Well, you healed yourself. Rude. Disapprove. Alright, and it's down to you to still be excellent. Okay. That's a boatload of damage. Alright, he's got 81 out of 89, so he's missing more health technically, so we'll do that. And then, oh, that actually heals as well, so we'll do that. And then we just win. Alright, cool. Unlocking all the cards here. Interesting, but I don't think so. Already seen all of those. Nightmare. A given monster takes 18 damage and gets 2 statuses applied at the cost of 1 energy. Alright. It's not really damage types that I'm doing, but it's not like I have a huge amount of bonuses either, so... Off we go. Anthem of Hope, granting 2 courage to shield us from the damage types that we don't take anyway. Loot! Love loot. Oh, hey, that's actually pretty good. Gain 2 fast, so you'd have a chance to go a little quicker. This is actually really, really good, because this is going to make those deflects do 2 more armor. So that's dope. And then the rest of this is very, very meh. So we'll just take money. Alright. We are in full combat capability shapes. Unless this is possible, let's just attack him. Nobody needed the heal. Hey, everybody's going to get to go before they do. Oh, that's great. Wild Hunt on the first turn. Hunter's Mark on the big bad. You know who really needs a good first turn is her. Oh, that's a good first turn. Except Frostbolt. Alright. Slice. And then do we want to aim shot the back guy or try to get rid of these guys? Probably get rid of these guys just so they don't overwhelm us with cards. Well, this is good. Okay, so follow-up we can do follow-up, then fast strike, then sweeping strike will be free. And we can do all of that while still giving ourselves more power. So now I do plus 25% damage, which is pretty great. So follow-up first. Reduce the cost. So the next attack reduces the cost of the highest cost. So that does that. I know that's 0. Beautiful. Let's give ourselves a little bit of luck, because that's what we do. Oh, that's really great. Okay, so the elemental proliferation means that we will do additional damage on hit, and it will apply statuses and sight to everyone. Bueno. Can I get close to killing this guy with this? Yes. We overall want to like super overload that charge. And I think we just go ahead and kill her because she's not going to die to the current fire, and I don't want her casting her stuff, so let's just get rid of that. Okay. let's get foresight applied to that guy because why wouldn't we? Got 5. So we can do Holy Smite, save Purging Ray for when they actually have beneficial effects. Seems good. Can I get this guy to die? So he's going to take, so if I do 28 damage, that leaves him with 7 health, and he'll take 7 burning damage. So I think that kills. I think that kills. Let's get some extra shields for next round. Great. So now we just have to deal with the boss here, and then we will have defeated Act 1. Okay. Also, there is a way to make the things go faster or slower, but I don't remember where it is. I think I have it on fast, just so that it doesn't take as long. We only have 3, so we can either do Slice, Slice, so we can do Searing Number regardless. Let's just do that. So Ice Shot is going to do 29 damage. And that's going to do essentially 17. But all other hits will hit twice. Two more. I think that's worth it. Yeah. It also reduces his thorn stacks by 2, so it spreads out that nonsense by a little bit. Okay, we have all the shield bashes this turn. It's gonna, okay, we got our shield bash after we took the thorn stacks. Live and learn. Don't need more than 41. Oh, yeah, we got the broken bond. This fireball is about to wreck this guy's day. But let's get the additional burn stacks on him first, because that will reduce his fire resistance even more. So we're basically going to do everything in the fireball, and now the fireball should do... Okay, it did about the same. I guess because we only got 2 more stacks, it wasn't gonna change the world there, but it's worth thinking about. X equals your hand what? Oh, hand size, I guess. So probably should have done that first, huh? You know, live and learn. Alright, and he will burn to death. Goodbye, good sir. Alright, and now we start to get into the rare cards. So they got the silver backgrounds, which is why I said it was like super earlier when we got the Purging Ray. These are pretty interesting. So Sever Artery costs a lot, but we can use our follow-up to make it cheaper. I don't know if it's just 1 until discarded. Okay, so it just makes it cheaper once. Ground Slam is also pretty good, but it's the damage type that we're not boosting. So let's go with Sever Artery, that seems good. A Sneaky Strike. That makes you stealthy, so then you do more damage on your next hit, and it's a way to hit any monster, not just the front. That is a boatload of damage, but it's also 5 energy, which I pretty much never have. So yeah, let's go with Sneaky Strike. And then Superconductor jumps. So yeah, let's do that. Radiant Assault, 5 energy. Sorry. Save it for later. Okay, that's funny. Holy Blast, deal... Okay, so if we were stacking up Bless in some manner that was faster than the 1 a turn that we get, because we get 1 Bless every turn, and we have the ability to get 2, maybe 1 more. So really, this is not going to do a whole lot. So we'll take Shreds. And we get loot! Loot is great. Alright, is there loot that we particularly care about? This looks pretty good, so giving ourselves Thorns on defense, pretty Nice. So we already have something like goggles on her, which is this crystal ball, so unless she's getting something that does something else. So I could give her the torch, for example, and that would make all of my burn stuff do more burns. So that would be 2, that would be 4. And oh, I guess I get the 1 from my equipment as well, the heat search thing, so that would do +1. So that would be okay. Hunting ring seems amazing for him because +1 mark charges, so I think we're going to not think about that too hard and just take it. This one increases healing, so we're just going to not think about too hard and take it. This is pretty good. I like that over the 2 powerful stacks. At least pretty well. And for her, we have a choice. We can either get a woolly hat or we can get a torch. We can give her some thorns, which I don't think matters. Let's just give her a torch. So we no longer have anything that's doing much in the way of sight, but that's okay. Alright, and then we are going to go to the Obelisk, and we can choose one of these 2 portals. Now we have one quest that is trying to go towards a reddish thing, and we have one quest that is likely to go to a greenish thing with the Bellifer's Horn. So let's do reddish first. And that's going to bring us to the Velkarath Mountains. I will move myself aside for the moment. You guys can read that if you would like. And we will move on to Act 2. If you notice, there is a town here. There is our quest marker, so we got to go up this way to get there. There's a green thing there. I have no idea what that means. And yeah, I got nothing. So yeah, so we're going to go up that north path, but first we get to go to a town. And Zingara must be a title because they have that there. So let's go to the town upgrades. We can look at that real briefly. We'll do a little bit of card thingies. I think removing cards in the starting town being free is just great because then you're actually incentivized to spend those money in divination, which also we could make cheaper. That seems good. And currency retention seems like a pretty important thing so that we don't lose as much. And I don't know. Let's reduce that. So we'll be able to go push these things as we go. So once we get 3 supplies, we could do, that. But I figure getting most of these top level things is probably pretty important. And I think we will still have to pay to get rid of things like that. So we'll have to pay 100 gold to get rid of that. That's a little painful. Notice our decks are starting to bloat just a little bit, but we can start removing cards that don't do as much. And okay, so now I've got some pretty big nasty things. I've got a pretty big defend here, and I've got a little defend there. Deflects are great, slices are super great now that those do 2. Aim shots aren't doing as much, and rupture isn't doing as much, so we can get rid of those guys. That'll bring us down to 15. She's got a number of things that I almost never cast, so let's get rid of those. The rest of this is fine. I've already upgraded these transmissions, so I don't really want to pay gold to get rid of them because that feels... It's a little sunk cost fallacy, but they're also not bad cards at this point. Elemental wards are pretty bad though, so we could get rid of those. Reginald, good old Reggie here. His healing is already pretty decent without that. I think we don't want the foresight anymore. And probably don't need 3 free flashes. 1 is probably fine. So we can get rid of the other one there. Or we can get rid of... barrier. Okay, so we're down to 15 cards everywhere. We can choose to upgrade some of our cards if we wanted to. So like Sever Artery, we could spend a large amount to make it attack any monster, or we can make it do a 4 more damage and 5 more bleed, which is a pretty good dot increase. We could make Hunter's Mark go away. That seems nice. Okay, that's expensive. He is completely upgraded, so we're fine on his front. Also, we could technically look to see if he needs anything made. So Flash Heal would be a thing that we could do if we actually needed more heal. Holy Blast, Holy Smite. I think we're fine. Oh, Evelyn could make more Ember Storms if we want those. It's fine. Okay, so let's go and upgrade one thing then. Superconductor can't be upgraded. Charge Battery could be upgraded. So let's do... And Deflects don't need upgrades. Sever Artery could use it. Let's make it any monster. And then we are poor again. At which point we are ready to head back into the wilds, and that is where we will cut the part and move on to the next act the next time we record. So hopefully everybody learned something about this game. I think it's fantastic. I think it is definitely worth picking up, even in its early access stage. And I don't say that lightly. I don't like early access games, for the most part. I understand why it's necessary sometimes, or at least why it is desirable for companies to try to get some initial investment so that they're not worried as much about venture capital or deadlines or things like that. But on the other hand, a lot of times it can lead to buggy, unfinished messes that never get fully released. And that's not good for the industry as a whole. But this is not really an example of that. It's even if this was the final playable state of the game, I think it would be fun enough to be worth $10, $15. And they seem to be actively dropping patches and stuff, so I think it's only got an upward trajectory, at least for now. So hopefully, yeah, you learned something, and if you didn't learn anything, hopefully at least you had fun, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace, guys.